When I was a teenager, I remember thinking to myself, is this all there is to life? Because of all the struggles and barriers I faced, society is not designed for people like me. And I remember thinking, do I have to accept that this is the way things are? Hello, my name is Kaylah, spelt with an H at the end. This is my sign name, and I am in behavioral neuroscience as a mental health clinician. I have a degree in what is called integrative behavioral health, which means I study addiction counseling and mental health counseling into one position. I was deaf ever since I was born, and I had to learn how to hear, essentially. And it was obvious that I lived in a separate world. I felt like an outsider.
In this photo, you didn't look very happy.
Right.
Well, you were in a daycare with all hearing kids.
Right.
And a daycare provider that didn't speak ASL.
Right.
And I had an extremely difficult time finding daycare for you because nobody spoke ASL. So you typically would be in a daycare for maybe 2 weeks before they would tell me that they couldn't watch you anymore. And I had to try to find someone new.
My mom was told by society that for me to be successful, to be happy in society, that I would have to become like a hearing person. But she decided just to give me hearing aids. That way I could remove them if I wanted to. And I could later decide for myself, because personally, sometimes I would like not to have to hear. So I went to a deaf school, which was nice. I was able to socialize with my people, my community, and still get the education I needed. But then I would go home and all of my family was hearing. So I just had to figure things out, which took time, and I definitely had my struggles. But I also felt like I was living in two separate worlds. And they don't always coincide with each other. When I was younger, my art was a way to explore life outside of society, outside of the system. And then I started with the question, is there more to life? Art was one place that I felt truly free. I went to the University of Minnesota for my undergrad. And if I was going to get a degree, it was going to be in something I enjoyed. So I majored in art. My path was not straightforward. I had a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt. But I did know that I had an interest in understanding the human mind and human behavior. So I decided to get my master's degree in integrative behavioral health. Based on my own experience as a deaf person, whenever I would receive counseling, I felt as though it was not the support that I needed. And I feel like what they were telling me didn't apply, and they were doing more harm than helping. So I wanted to change that. Marginalized groups need a different counseling approach. I enjoyed that most during my master's program. Learning how to counsel, how to help these populations, which made me realize that we still have a lot of work to do. After I graduated, I went and worked as an outpatient mental health counselor. I would meet with a patient once a week, discuss their mental health needs, and as a mental health provider, it really requires you to have a lot of humility. It requires a lot of relationship building skills, how to interact with people, different types of people, and learning what they need from these sessions and how I can help them, empowering them to continue on their mental health journey. It's a lot of responsibility. I taught this organization how to improve their accessibility for deaf and hard of hearing individuals, and it was nice to feel respected and be taken seriously as a professional, which was different. And I want more marginalized groups to really experience that level of respect. The research on mental health and counseling approaches need to be updated. One thing I wish is art therapy was more accessible. Through art, I think people have a natural ability to imagine. People are natural creators. And I think art therapy would really open a whole new world. Trusting yourself is part of trusting the process. As you're trusting the process, new and better opportunities will develop. We need more marginalized groups to join the field, to bring your ideas, your lived experience, your story, to help us close the gap in the mental health field. Oftentimes, marginalized groups don't have a lot of authority. We're pushed aside, and it would be nice to be recognized. We have the intelligence. We can be involved to help shape society. But that can't happen without everyone at the table.